Welcome to Catchy Cartoons. I'm so glad you're joining me today for the first of my 3 Halloween specials. In this video, we're going to be drawing a spooky little ghost, so let's get started. We'll begin the drawing process by sketching in simple shapes and forms, starting with a circle for the head. This will serve as a guide for the proportions and the pose of our final drawing. A center line to determine the bias, an eye line to place the eyes, and to establish the angle of the head, which in this case is going to be a little bit tilted. We'll draw his eyes wide open and a big gaping mouth. This will give the appearance that the ghost is howling and will make it even spookier. For this pose, we're going to have our little ghost trick-or-treating, so he will need to be leaning back as he waits for unsuspecting homeowners to give him his treats. We'll do this by angling the line down to the right. And for his back, we'll follow the same angle, but with a little jaunt to the left. We'll draw a fairly shallow ellipse to establish the ground plane. Even though our ghost has no feet, we still need to know where the ground is. You'll learn why later on in the video. We'll draw the arms outstretched, sketch in some ambiguous fingers, and continue the line down towards the bottom. You can think of his arms as being a bit like bat wings if that helps you. We'll finish his other arm and then move on to his candy pail, which will be in the style of a pumpkin. You may even have one of these yourself when you go trick-or-treating. Sketch in a circle, an ellipse at the top of the pail, and since we'll be adding a jack-o'-lantern face, it will also need both an eye line and a center line, just like our ghost. A little triangle for the nose, 2 more triangles for the eyes, and a big spooky grin. Sketch in the handle, and we'll move on to the first tie-down pass. This is where we will start to bring our ghost to life. But wait a minute, a ghost can't come to life, or can it? Ooh, spooky! Anyway, let's carry on. I'm liking these eyes, but I think we'll make the screen right eye just a touch bigger, and we'll make the mouth a little bit bigger as well. Let's round off the head, and remember to still stay loose, as at this stage we're still searching for the right shapes and forms. Our ghost is looking a bit thin. He actually looks like he could use some of those Halloween treats he's about to collect. So let's add some more bulk to the front, and we'll push the structureless ghost-like body by adding more bulk at the bottom with a random splat around the ellipse. This is where knowing where the ground is comes in useful. Remember from earlier in the video, as you're doing this, try to imagine the hem of an oversized dress as it hits the floor around your feet, or of curtains that are far too long and puddle at the bottom of the window. But my favourite way to visualize this is to think of the shapes that spilled milk makes on your countertop. Not that you've ever done that, of course. We'll make the top of the arm more interesting by adding a subtle curve to the line. Let's make the forefinger a touch longer and thicken up the middle finger. We'll adjust the shape of the pinky and add more curve to the lower arm. Now let's move on to the candy pail. We'll adjust the shape by adding some weight to the lower half. We should flatten out the bottom of the pail, not only to make the shape more interesting, but also so that it won't tip over and cause our spooky ghost to lose all his goodies. Let's create a rim around the opening, finish his other arm, and we'll add some personality to the jack-o'-lantern face by rounding off the eyes and adding a little bit of a squint. Some subtle curves to the nose, and that mouth could use some pointy teeth. We'll finish this first tie-down pass by adding some form to the handle. The second tie-down pass is where we add a little more polish and definition with a darker and more committed line. But go carefully around the facial features as we don't want to mess up the expression. That howling mouth could easily turn into a big jolly laugh, and that's not spooky at all. Let's make sure his head is nice and round. I'm really liking this little ghost. How is your drawing coming along? I don't think there's going to be much adjusting or tinkering needed at all, just committing to the line. but still make sure to stay somewhat loose. Don't purposefully trace over the existing line. Use that as your guide only, as tracing can definitely kill the life and vitality of a drawing. We'll clarify the hand as it's looking a bit muddy through this area. Let's tighten up the shape of the pail. Define the facial features, especially the eyes. Knock in the handle. And we'll add some tone to give the drawing a sense of finish. The cleanup stage is the final step of the drawing process. This is where we apply the clean and final line. We can determine the style of any drawing by selecting the type of line we're going to apply. For example, as we want this ghost to have a simple and graphic look, the line through the face should be fairly thin so we don't lose the shapes. Nice and thick through the front. And let's flatten the head. The line should be bold with some nice thicks and thins. Now you may automatically be tempted to use black for your line work, but today we're going to use a deep blue instead, as pure black can sometimes look too harsh. To push the pose, we're going to angle the line along the back inwards. And let's make his dress, or sheet, or whatever it is he's got on, longer as we adjust the shape. The arm is looking a bit boring, so we'll push the curve by the shoulder. Make the forefinger longer, and the pinky could be a bit bigger. The line should be somewhat thinner as it's an interior line, and we don't want the line of the fingers to overpower the jack-o'-lantern pail. We want this area to be clean and simple looking. Let's keep the line work for the jack-o'-lantern fairly thin as well, especially the face, as thick lines in a small space like this could make things look mushy. We'll just clean up the face and we'll be ready for some colour. Let's colour the jack-o'-lantern orange, obviously. A darker orange for the inside of the pail, dark blue for the handle and the face, and we'll use a dirty yellow for our spooky ghost. But a light blue might look nice too, and a fairly dark grey with a tint of yellow for the eyes and mouth. And there you have it, one spooky little trick-or-treating ghost. If you had fun learning to draw this little fellow, please hit the like button, click on the subscribe button if you'd like to see more Halloween videos, or indeed any of my other Catchy Cartoons videos. Hit the bell to be notified of my next video. Please share this video and leave a comment. And please send me your spooky ghost drawing. You just might see it in a future Catchy Cartoons video. Thanks for watching and happy trick-or-treating, everyone!